record.
Yay! Okay, welcome everybody. Oh, just in time. I think that's Nicole.
Nicole, she can hear us.
Yay! Hi, Nicole. Okay, so welcome. It does not feel like it was 2 weeks because we had such a good time at Leaders Retreat, learning lots of stuff. But we're back at it, and we're going to talk about chapter 6. We're starting with chapter 6, the wall, 6 through 10 this week. And then homework from Christy.
Always with the homework.
Yes, because she's the best teacher. I think Nicole's not on mute.
Oh my gosh, y'all mute me, seriously.
Okay.
You
are.
Okay.
You sound fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to mute just you. Hold on.
Hold on, I can do it.
Oh, look at that.
You're muted. All right. In case one of her kids barfs, we won't hear it.
Exactly. And may I say, ladies, that I just want you to know that I took notes last night. I know that you're going to fall out of your chair. But I actually, when I was reading these chapters, I took notes and the whole thing, and it was just awesome. And I'm in the process of sharing this whole thing that I got from the 5 steps to control or success or failure. I mean, it's just awesome. So I just wanted to do that. So I'm so excited. This is exciting.
I'm so glad you did, because I was thinking earlier, because I don't know how many people are actually participating and watching our videos, because I feel like the first few chapters are not very exciting, and you're kind of hearing things maybe you've heard your whole life and have just chosen not to make them. But I'm on chapter 18 right now. This book is unbelievable. It gets so way deeper than I would rather have anybody getting deep. So that's just my 2 cents of hang with it, because I feel like this set of chapters is the first one we really are digging in and figuring out what we do and how to change it. But you guys, it gets crazy good. So hang in there, because it's worth it. Okay, Deanna, tell us about the wall.
Well, I was going to say this morning, along those same lines, thank you, Christy, for being inspiring about note-taking. You really are awesome. Right? Okay, so what I was thinking this morning is I need to order this, and this needs to be my Christmas present to everyone in my
everybody.
family.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, so chapter 6, the wall. Even just seeing the title of that, the book of that chapter, I just think, okay, hitting the wall. So what is the wall? That wall that we feel like when we hit it, we're trying to do something new. And so most of our self-talk is unconscious. So we're not necessarily aware of what our minds are doing. And in that chapter, it talks about our mind is like a filing cabinet. When a thought comes in, our mind wants to file it. It wants to file it with our similar, things go together, and it wants to file it with those similar thoughts. And the more we believe about something, the more we accept the other ideas that are similar to it. And so our mental filing cabinet, we file what we hear the most and throw out anything that disagrees. So what we hear the most, what comes into our mind most often, is what we're going to file and keep. So on page 50, there's a self-made wall of negative self-talk talks there, and he says, we're not aware. We are not aware of our subconscious. That's why it's the subconscious. But he says, if everything you tell yourself about yourself becomes a directive to your subconscious mind, then anytime you make a statement about yourself that is negative, you are directing your subconscious mind to make you become the person you just described negatively. So you're in charge. I love this. I mean, I love everything that he's saying, but I really love that we're in charge. There are he lists tons of negative examples. He started making a list. Things like, I never have enough time to do this. For me, I'm always late. I can't remember this. Oh, I'm terrible with names. A lot of people will say, oh, I'm just too shy. I'm not good with people. I'm an introvert. If only I were smarter. The things that we say to ourselves all day long, just the self-deprecating things that, I think of it as I'm trying to identify with my friends and with the people that I associate with. But we say this to ourselves all day long, and no wonder things don't work out. No wonder I'm always late. No wonder I can't remember names. So on page 53, he talks about our brain is our computer, our personal computer. And he says, if your personal computer is programmed with the wrong information, you cannot possibly be as successful as you would like to be. You cannot get where you want to go. So, talking about not remembering names, that kind of things. If your brain is programmed to think like that and to believe that, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're telling yourself that over and over. You are strengthening your programming with that negative talk. On page 55, human brain. The human brain will do anything possible you tell it to do, if you tell it often enough and strongly enough. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. It doesn't know the difference between what's actually happening and what you're telling your brain. So if you tell the wrong thing about yourself, that is what it's going to act upon. It's going to believe it. It's going to accept it. You are programming your brain to do exactly what your body to do exactly what you've told it to do and act upon it. So it's a pretty strong statement. The human brain it will do anything possible that you tell it to do. So that's powerful. Huge, huge power in that. So that's chapter 6 on the wall.
That is huge. Something that I gathered from that is, sometimes I have a million zillion cake pop orders, and I wake up and I'm like, I'm never going to get it done. Like, I can't sleep. I'm never going to get it done. There's no way I can get this many cake pops done. And since I've been reading this book, like when I was trying to get everything done before going to Leaders Retreat, I woke up and I felt like, oh my gosh, I am never going to get everything done. And I went, I have plenty of time. No worries. I got plenty of time, totally going to get it done. And I literally had no stress the rest of the day. I was like, I've got this. It's really, it just, the way that it helps it, affects us even physiologically, that's my stress level just going down. Like, I got them done, and it was not midnight like it normally is when I get done. It's like 7 o'clock. I'm like, so it's real. Chapter 7 is about passing it on. This may have been the most important chapter to me when I was, especially up to this point, how we affect our children, or really anybody that we spend a lot of time with, whether it's our employees or the people in our downline or upline. Like, what are we saying to them? It became a really big joke, but how many times did I say at Leaders Retreat to Nicole, I'm so going live. You were so going to go live with me. We're going to do a Facebook Live. And we didn't, because it just wasn't time yet, but it will happen. It will happen. I bet before this book is over that Nicole does a Facebook Live and is perfectly comfortable with it. But we have to keep saying it. So that's kind of how it relates to our team. But to our kids, it blew me away. I think I've talked about it 2 weeks prior of how we talk to our children and how it just really affects them. How we always taught Isaac that he was smart, not that he was handsome. So now he's up at school struggling with not feeling good looking enough. We've always told Cassidy, we called it her blue screen moments, because she just starts talking and then stops and is gone. And we talk all the time about she's just not smart. And she's getting straight A's, but she still will say, I'm not smart. Isaac's smart, I'm pretty. And so we're changing that. And Sophia, we have called her Skippy Soph her whole life, and Smiley Soph because she skips everywhere she goes. That girl, she could face plant and have a broken nose and get up and be like, I'm all right, I'm okay. And I realize now with this, it's because since she was an infant, we have talked about how happy she is and how nothing will ever get her down. That girl will have fun anywhere. So that's really, we have to make sure we are not putting bad programs into our children's computers, into our spouses' computers. If we love them, we need to be putting uplifting, amazing things. I know that I talked about it before, but a month ago when I started reading this book and read this chapter, we started self-talk on the way to school with Andrew. And I told you guys, I think 2 weeks ago, that we started the I score soccer goal, since he never kicked the ball in a game. And he now, every game since we started that, has scored a soccer goal. It's kind of crazy. So just know that what you pour into your children, even if you don't believe it, I really never thought he would score a soccer goal, but he wanted to so bad. So I kept telling him he would. And then Rob called while we were at Leaders Retreat to tell me that as he gave each child their trophy, he would hand it to them and talk about them and then say, do you have anything to say? And every single kid said no. And Andrew said yes. When it was his turn, he was last. And Rob said, well, what would you like to say? And Andrew said, I am awesome, which is the first thing we say every single morning. You guys, this stuff works. He may come into trouble one day when he maybe isn't as awesome as he thinks he is, but I think it will get him through like whatever speed bumps he has, and people will realize he's actually very sweet and kind, because we say those things as well. But we just, as children, have grown to, and then as adults, we just believe the worst case scenario about ourselves. You know, I'm never going to be skinny. I'm never going to be outgoing. I'm never going to be able to talk to strangers. It's so easy to believe those things, because then it just kind of limits what we actually expect from ourselves. So we have to raise our expectations of ourselves. Deanna, chapter 8 is a lot, so have at it.
Yeah, you can listen to me for a while. This is pretty fantastic. I love this. Okay, I love it all. I just love it all. Chapter 8, self-programming, so the self-management sequence. Talks about programming. Programming creates beliefs. Beliefs create attitudes. Attitudes create feelings. Feelings determine actions, and actions create results. So we're going from programming, and this is a domino effect. Everything is a domino effect. One action creates another, affects another, until you have results. So, hi, Carrie.
Thanks for pulling over and listening to us.
I know. Totally worth it. And we're recording for later. But some people believe that things happen to them on accident. How often have you thought that? How often have we listened to people who've said that things just happen to them? Oh, this always they are being acted upon. But in reality, most of what seems to happen to you happens because of you, something that you created, directed, influenced, or allowed to happen. So it's that personal responsibility. And I'm a huge personal responsibility fan, and try to teach that to my kids. I don't like it that much, but try to teach it to my kids. No, it's huge. So behavior refers to our actions. Sometimes we don't listen to our own advice because something else affects it. Something directs, influences, or controls all of our actions. And so sometimes we don't listen to our own advice. We know better. We know ourselves better than anybody else. We listen. We're in here all the time. We never get away from ourselves. So that something is feelings. How we feel about something will always determine, or will always affect what we do and how well we do it. So how do we feel about something? How do your kids feel about food? How do they feel about eating? This on our notes here, Christy, is this this is a story you're sharing of you?
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. So I was going to have, in relation to feelings. So here's where I had a real squirrel moment last night when I was typing up my ideas and our thoughts. But how often this is real general population stuff. And I think, how often when you tell people you love to run, like you've run your whole life, as long as I've known you, you've run.
Yeah.
How many times do people be like, if I'm running, it's because a cop is chasing me? How many times have you heard that? So somewhere when you were growing up, you got the idea that running was good, right?
Yeah. And I know when. I was
Okay.
in elementary school, and I was fast. I was faster than the boys, and guess what? People told me I was fast, and so I became fast, and running became the thing that I wanted to do because people kept telling me I was fast. And I lived on a farm, so I was running, and I would run all the time. And I remember my dad telling me that running is more efficient than walking. All of these things, kind of reinforced. And then I believed that I wasn't the fastest. But I was successful enough I kept getting reinforced over and over. I had a lot of doubts too. Looking back, I think, I could have done so much more had I not. In my head, I actually remember in races thinking, what if I just fell down? If I just fell down, then I won't lose. I'm probably not going to win this race because there are some people ahead of me. So rather than run to catch up to them and win the race or better my time,
Mhm.
in my head, I was thinking, what if I fell down? And then people would feel sorry for me that but now I have an excuse. So, that is for me, has been a lifelong joy. I love it. I love the feeling of running. I love the winning. Everybody I think likes to win, but I didn't win all of the time. And I let that get into my head, instead of enjoying the process. And now, even when I'm running and I think, oh, it is earlier, I am tired, or it's cold. Instead, I say, I feel strong and I feel great. And I say it over and over again, even as I'm slogging through rain or the wind. Here, the wind in Idaho is ridiculous. Like, I run backwards most of the time. But saying, I feel strong and I feel great. I heard that at a conference one time. And that saying has stuck with me. And I say that over and over. And it actually works. It works.
It actually does. And I wanted you to share your love of running because I don't know a time when you didn't have that. Whereas at all our years at college, did I ever go for a jog with you?
No.
No, never once.
Get out.
Never once. And here's why. I hated the idea of running because, hey, Ashley, I hated the idea of running because my father was a long distance runner. And every day he would go and run for like hours. And it took away from time I wanted to spend with him when I was there during the summer. So I just had a bad taste in my mouth about running. And it took something. So my feelings about running were bad. But then when I got cervical cancer and I was stuck on a couch for like a month recovering, I told myself, when I heal and I get good, I'm going to run a marathon. Okay, crazy concept, since I'd only ever run a 5K, super slow. But I got a really great training book, and the whole book, chapter by chapter, went like as you increased your mileage, was about what to say to yourself to keep going. Because I'll be honest, at 18 miles, no matter how well you've trained, you hurt really, really bad. And by 26 miles, you really think somebody should shoot you. But you do it because this book taught me all the self-talk. I wish way back then it taught me self-talk in general, but it didn't. It taught me the self-talk of running 26 miles. And after that, I truly knew I could do anything in the world if I set my mind to it, because but my whole feelings changed, which changed my actions and my beliefs. So I wanted us to be able to give 2 real life examples of how the self-talk affects what anybody can do. Running applies to everybody. Or lack of running. Okay. Sorry about that.
Yes to all of that. How funny is it that we had just talked about running?
Yes.
Because who has run the most marathons? You. I've done one. I'm good.
Ashley's got 0. Yeah. She's the fastest. I'm the slowest. I just never quit. I just kept doing them. I just kept signing up for them. So yeah. Anyway. All right. So feelings into actions. Take it away.
Feelings. All your feelings affect your actions. They just do. But what causes you to have those feelings that are so much a part of you? Your feelings are created. They're controlled. They're determined and influenced by attitudes. By our attitudes. So whatever attitude you have about anything, it's going to affect how you feel about it. And then that in turn determines how we'll act on it. And that in turn determines whether or not we will do well. So our feelings to our actions, and then our doing. So we really, it's really, really important that we feel good, because if we don't feel good, we're not going to act good. Our attitudes are not accidents. They don't just happen. They are created. They are created, they are controlled, and they are influenced entirely by our beliefs. What are we telling ourselves? So what we believe about anything is going to determine our attitudes. They're going to create our feelings, direct our actions, and in each instance, it's going to help us do well or do poorly. It's going to help us succeed or help us fail. It's going to help us succeed or fail. So belief, it does not require that that something be the way we see it to be. It only requires us to believe that it is. So do you hear that? It doesn't have to be true. If we believe it is true, it will become true. So Christy, I hear you. You're good. You're really good at self-talk. You are a very, very good believer because you tell yourself things. I drive a Lexus, and then how it comes back to bite you when your car breaks down or it's acting funny, and Rob's like, it should be fine driving a Lexus.
In my face.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily true. You might not be the fastest runner. You keep telling yourself you're the fastest runner, because eventually that positive information that you're programming in your brain, that's going to become reality. You're going to get faster. You can't help it. You cannot help it because you're telling your brain what to believe. So on page 69, he talks about us not being born with good or bad social behavior, but that it's conditioned. Social grace, skill, and our comfort levels that we have, if we're successful or unsuccessful, it's based on what we believe about ourselves. What have we programmed into our brain? What have we been told? What have we been taught? And that reminds us about Carrie Wilkerson. She taught us about DNA at Leaders Retreat. And she said that, some DNA we are born with. We're born with our hair color that we can change, eye color, our height, our gait. There are a lot of things, DNA, that we are born with that are unchangeable physically. But what a lot of what we think is our DNA can actually be changed. You don't have to be born with it, is what she's saying. You can create it. You can create your DNA, and you can determine what happens from this day forward and take responsibility for your actions. So, making sure that we understand that our beliefs are not an accident of nature. It's not something that we are predestined to have. We're not hardwired to be able to talk to people. We're not hardwired to be shy or to like a certain food or to be successful. We are created and directed. Our beliefs are created and directed entirely by our programming. So whether the programming is right or wrong or true or false, the result of that programming is what we eventually believe and where our actions take us. So it puts it all on us. It puts every single thing that we do on us, and making sure that we program ourselves for success, that we make sure that what we want, that we're telling ourselves over and over and over again in a positive way, all of the things that we can do, because eventually we will do it. Eventually it will get there. And it's not going to get there through negative talk, but only through that positive programming. So that's chapter 8. It was a lot. It was a lot.
And I wanted to spend a lot of time on that because when I first read the chapter, it bored me because it was so just like, I felt like he was talking in circles.
Yeah.
But in reality, he was, because he was relating how they all go together. But when I first read it, it bored me. And I had to go back and read it again and say, how does this apply to my life?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of, so we're getting short on time. So I am going to not say as much about chapter 9 as I had originally thought, because it's pretty simple. If you read it, it's got the 5 levels actually. And he really explains them well. I will tell you something that I got out of this, and something I've started to change is some people, when they're beginning their self-talk journey, or I shouldn't say some people, when Christy Barkley began her self-talk journey, I would say things like, I won't quit, or I don't want to, I can't even say it anymore, but I would start phrases like, I won't do something anymore. I won't eat junk food anymore. Or and I thought that's a negative way to say it. Instead, what I need to say is I eat healthy, not I won't eat junk food. Because when I say I won't eat junk food, I'm including won't, a negative word, and junk food, my favorite food group, still in my head. So I had to pull it out, and we've done this in our home. Rob's still figuring this out. Again, with Rob on this journey with me that he does not want to be on with me, but he will throw out his self-talk will have a negative phrase in it. And I'm like, like I'm his mom or something. God, I gotta be the craziest wife in the world. So, he talks about the 4 levels. He describes them well. So you guys can read those. But the most important part is get rid of levels 1 and 2, use levels 3 and 4. Level 5, I'll work on it. Like my oneness with God, that's pretty ginormous. Part of my self-talk is I read my scriptures every day. So I'm going to get closer to God as I do that. But there's no doubt in my mind that he has a huge purpose in my life. I don't know that I've reached level 5, but I know that I pray and I speak to him and he hears me and he has a purpose for my life. So maybe I'm partway to level 5, but mostly pull out the negative words, and your self-talk should just be like, stop yourself. As soon as you say can't, won't, shouldn't, just stop. Your kids don't care, and rephrase it. When you do that actually out loud, your kids are going to notice. What did mom just say? And then they're going to pick up on what you're doing. They will eventually start doing the same thing because they're not going to hear those words.
They mimic what you say. They mimic what you say. They hear what you say. They repeat what you say. They are becoming what you are modeling for them, what you are teaching them. And how amazing are they that they get to have this opportunity at this young of an age to start listening to all the positive.
What we have to say. I'm so excited. I know. Like I said, Andrew's going to be so obnoxiously positive. He probably will not. We're going to have to start saying, I have lots of friends, because he'll probably drive them nuts when they realize what he's done. Okay. Chapter 10.
And that's a good thing to be. It's good to be obnoxiously positive.
Happy. You should know.
I should know, because David tells me I am exhausting. Exhaustingly awesome.
Exhaustingly awesome.
Oh, bless his heart. He had no idea what he was getting into. Okay, chapter 10, Power of Positive Thinking. I actually really, really love, and my dad years ago read the Power of Positive Thinking. He kind of looked on, and I think that's where I was a recipient of a lot of that positive self-talk that he didn't really know that he was passing on to me, but that's because of Power of Positive Thinking, and we still talk about it today. And, that was a great book. It had great information, but why does it not stick? Why do the shelves and shelves of books, self-help books that Christy has, why do they not stick? And wanting to be a positive thinker, it's not enough. The human brain says, give me more, give me the words, give me directions, give me commands, give me the programming. Program it in here. I need a picture. I need a schedule. I need to see what it looks like. I need to have your brain wants to have the vision of, and so that it can give you the results that you want. So your brain will do it for you. It doesn't have a choice to do it for you, but you need to give it the words. So give your brain the words, give your brain the programming to have those positive affirmations, to have that power of positive thinking. Turn it into actions, and turn it into actions by saying it over and over and creating that belief so that you can have it happen. So that's chapter 1.
So our homework, and we'll post this on there. This one, first bit of homework, you're going to really love this by the end of the week. But right now you're going to think I'm nuts. I see you, Ashley. You are going to love this. 5 times a day for the next week, I want you to give positive affirmations to your children and spouse. So I'm going to just create a little checklist. And my Monday through Friday, or my Wednesday through Wednesday, and make sure, I'm going to have to text Isaac. I'm going to have to text Rob. He's in Las Vegas, or whenever I talk to him. But 5 a day. That's going to be hard because you know who's in this house right now? Me and Andrew. And he's got enough. Let me just tell you. He's here.
You can never have enough. Never have enough.
3 plexus power days, if you guys have been working on that. And then really look at the 5 levels in chapter 9 and see where you are. Where do you stand? Where do you spend the majority of your time? And is that a good place? I think I was mostly at level 2. And so I think now I'm mostly at level 4. I'm feeling pretty good about that. But I've been on this journey a lot longer. Like I said, I'm on chapter 18. And then we're going to read chapters 6 through 10. And then I am going to share this because I heard it, you know, I am a self-proclaimed YouTube training junkie. And I heard a new one with Sonia Dudley. She was doing a training for way down in her downline about self-talk, but it was like a 30-minute training. It wasn't her 8-week series. She said she had just recently read this. It's called Self-Talk, Soul Talk. Can you see it? Jennifer Rothschild. She said she loved this. So I haven't started reading it yet, but it's a lot. She said it's a lot less intense. It's not near as in depth. So it's not going to replace our book. But she said for those of you who are spiritually inclined, who really want, who believe very much in, you know, whatever higher power you look to, but mostly, I mean, she's a speaker on a faith circuit. So it's gonna be kind of like a church book, but she's gonna apply. Sonia says it's amazing. It's written for women who are spiritually based and puts self-talk, because sometimes this is written by a man who's very scientific, and sometimes you can read, we as women who are more nurturing may sometimes think, is that good that we're, you know, saying these things about ourselves or whatnot? This, she says, is very kind, and she shares how it can be like biblically based, or this self-talk. So I'm going to read this as well. Carrie, it's called Self-Talk, Soul Talk by Jennifer Rothschild. So that's what I got. Thank you, everybody.
And not chapter 6 through 10. What we're reading?
11 through 15.
11 through 15. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to get deep. Get ready. Get your highlighters out, because true story, I was on the airplane and I was like, why am I highlighting? Why don't I just say the whole book is pink? This is me. This is me on the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting deep. So love you guys. Have a great week. Go tell your spouse and children how much you love them.
And how fantastic they are and how amazing you are.
Yes.
You guys are great.
And tell yourself you can get everything done today. It's a great day. Bye.
See ya.